The capture of Belgrade's lower town by Ottoman forces marked a new and perilous phase in the siege, as the city's citadel emerged as a deadly bastion for the remaining defenders. Though the lower streets had fallen under Sultan Mehmed II's relentless assault, the inner fortress, perched on higher ground, remained a formidable stronghold. From this elevated position, defenders transformed the citadel into a lethal zone, turning every street, alley, and exposed space below into a deadly trap for the advancing Ottoman troops. As Ottoman soldiers attempted to consolidate their gains in the lower town, they were met with intense and unyielding fire from above. Archers stationed along the walls unleashed volleys of arrows that rained down with precision, targeting exposed soldiers and officers. Every attempt to maneuver through the shattered streets exposed attackers to deadly projectiles, forcing the Ottoman forces to adopt slower, more cautious movements while sustaining heavy casualties. The defenders' elevated position gave them a tactical advantage that partially offset the attackers' numerical superiority. In addition to traditional archery, the defenders employed firearms and early muskets, adding a new dimension of lethality to the citadel's defenses. Trained marksmen targeted officers and groups of soldiers attempting to advance, further disrupting the cohesion of the Ottoman assault. Each shot reinforced the difficulty of moving through the lower town and magnified the risks inherent in urban combat. The combination of gunfire and archery created a constant threat that the advancing army could not ignore. Cannons loaded with scrap, nails, and other improvised projectiles became a central element of the citadel's deadly arsenal. These makeshift weapons tore through formations and inflicted devastating injuries on soldiers attempting to traverse narrow streets or take cover behind debris. The roar of artillery from above, coupled with the sound of impacts and screams, turned the lower town into a scene of chaos and carnage. Every step forward became a perilous endeavor, demanding extraordinary coordination and courage from the attackers. The defenders' strategy was both defensive and psychological. By holding the high ground, they maintained the initiative despite losing the lower town. Ottoman troops, trapped between rubble, narrow streets, and the concentrated fire from the citadel, faced intense pressure to adapt. Morale fluctuated under the relentless attack, as every advancement was met with a combination of archery, musket fire, and cannon volleys. Commanders on both sides understood that control of the citadel would determine the outcome of the siege. Civilians continued to contribute to the defense, assisting in the loading of cannons, delivering ammunition to the front lines, and tending to the wounded amidst the chaos. Their involvement blurred the line between combatant and non-combatant, illustrating the total nature of resistance within the fortress. Every barricade strengthened, every projectile fired, and every act of bravery contributed to the deadly efficiency of the citadel's defenses. The Ottoman forces, though seasoned and disciplined, found themselves at a disadvantage in this environment. The confined streets limited the effectiveness of large formations and cavalry, forcing infantry to advance in smaller, more vulnerable groups. The destruction of the lower town, while facilitating access, also created obstacles in the form of rubble and debris that slowed movement and provided additional cover for defenders. Engineers and pioneers attempted to clear pathways under fire, highlighting the complexity and danger of urban siege operations. From a tactical perspective, the citadel exemplified the importance of terrain in defensive warfare. Elevated positions allowed defenders to maximize the effect of every projectile and cannon shot while constraining the attacker's options. The combination of natural height and fortified structures created a deadly synergy, turning the inner fortress into a killing zone that exacted a heavy toll on the advancing Ottoman army. The psychological impact on the Ottoman troops was profound. As soldiers pushed forward, they were forced to confront the reality of relentless resistance from above. Exhaustion, fear, and the sight of comrades falling under concentrated fire tested discipline and resolve. Commanders had to maintain tight control, issuing orders and coordinating attacks while adjusting to the defenders' unpredictable tactics. The battle was as much a contest of endurance and willpower as it was of skill and strategy. Despite these challenges, the Ottoman forces adapted to the deadly environment. Siege engineers worked to identify vulnerable points in the citadel walls, preparing for eventual breaching operations. Artillery positions were recalibrated to target specific towers and defensive structures, while infantry sought to create temporary cover in the devastated streets below. The methodical approach reflected the Ottoman Empire's capacity for sustained military campaigns, emphasizing patience, coordination, and incremental progress in the face of fierce resistance. The Citadel's defense demonstrated the effectiveness of combined weaponry in urban warfare. Arrows, firearms, and improvised cannon fire created overlapping fields of lethal force that exploited the attacker's exposure. Every misstep by the Ottoman soldiers carried immediate consequences, reinforcing the defenders' strategic advantage. The battle for Belgrade's inner fortress became a vivid example of how terrain, preparation, and ingenuity could offset superior numbers and resources. As the siege wore on, the killing zone created by the citadel exacted a heavy toll on the Ottoman army. Casualties mounted and progress slowed to a painstaking crawl. Commanders were forced to reconsider tactics, balancing aggression with the need to preserve manpower. Each attempt to advance highlighted the deadly effectiveness of defenders who leveraged both fortifications and the natural advantages of elevation. Ultimately, the citadel's lethal defense delayed the complete Ottoman conquest of Belgrade and transformed the engagement into one of the most intense and brutal urban battles of the period. The defenders' ability to exploit high ground, coordinate fire, and integrate civilian assistance created a scenario where even a powerful and disciplined force faced severe losses. The killing zone of the citadel became a defining feature of the siege, illustrating the enduring impact of preparation, morale, and tactical innovation in determining the outcome of historical conflicts. The events surrounding Belgrade's citadel highlight the interplay between technology, terrain, and human determination in warfare. Elevated positions, combined with a mix of traditional and improvised weaponry, enabled defenders to impose maximum damage on a numerically superior foe. At the same time, the unwavering courage and strategic insight of those inside the fortress demonstrated the critical role of morale and leadership in sustaining resistance under extreme pressure. In the final analysis, the citadel stood as a testament to the defenders' ingenuity and resilience. It transformed the captured lower town into a trap for Ottoman forces, exacting heavy casualties and prolonging the siege. Through determination, strategic use of terrain, and integration of all available resources, the defenders turned their last stronghold into a deadly obstacle that tested the limits of the empire's military power, leaving an enduring mark on the history of the Ottoman expansion and siege warfare.